Now we're going to hear from Howard about the voyage of HMS Challenger, one of the landmark expeditions in the early history of oceanography.
For the Victorians, the voyage of the Challenger between December 1872 and May 1876 was akin to the Apollo astronauts' journeys to the moon. It was a journey into the unknown. It resulted in the birth of oceanography as a multidisciplinary science and created a legacy which is with us today. Victorian society was fascinated by science, by the recent work of Charles Darwin, but also by the clear notion that Great Britain was the natural leader to make such a pioneering voyage. There were scientific questions to answer, especially to test the validity of the azoic theory of Edward Forbes, who held that life was impossible in the ocean at depths below 300 fathoms because of the cold, because of the dark, and because of the pressure. It was to search the ocean depths for living fossils, as suggested by Charles Darwin, and to map the bathymetry of the deep ocean, particularly to facilitate the laying of transatlantic cables. The subsequent voyage became the biggest single science project ever made at the time, the first major expedition to the deep sea, and the first major coupling between scientists and the Navy. The first samples were taken at a depth of 3,500 meters off Spain. At this first station, a routine sampling program was established that was maintained for the rest of the voyage. Soundings were taken of water depth. Water temperature was measured at various depths and samples taken for salinity and particulate analysis. Surface currents were measured. Sediment and bottom samples for geology and biology were taken with dredges and trawls, and nets were fished in mid-water. The crew operated the equipment, and the scientists joined in when the samples came on deck. In this way, Challenger sailed some 69,000 miles around the world, sampling in all the oceans except the Indian Ocean. In all, she made 492 soundings, took 263 water samples, made 133 dredge and 151 mid-water trawls. These resulted in 560 cases of samples, with thousands of jars and bottles containing animals, preserved in spirit of wine or alcohol. John Murray declared the results the greatest advances in the knowledge of our planet since the discoveries of the 15th and 16th centuries. These discoveries are all in the Challenger reports, which are still used by scientists today. The success of the Challenger expedition stimulated other nations to mount major oceanographic expeditions. It established the need for government sponsorship for such work, and it provided the first model of scientific and naval collaboration to unlock the secrets of the deep sea. The greatest legacy of the Challenger expedition was the establishment of the global science of oceanography based upon multidisciplinary international cooperation. Oceans are recognized today as a critical component of the Earth system, the mix of oceans, land, atmosphere and socioeconomics that make up our world.